Okay, welcome everyone to our November call. This is a very special call every year because this is a call when we can come together and really share our visions for the coming year. Um, so, a lot of us right now are in the midst of the 16 days of activism to halt gender based violence. There are lots of activities going on in many of our national associations. So, when you're sharing your vision, you may also want to share what is happening with the 16 days. But the purpose of this call is really for us to listen to each other's visions, support each other's visions for the coming year. And then in 2 weeks from now, we will have our final global call of the year, which will be to celebrate all of what we have done in the past year. It's been a very, very big year for MCLD. And so we have this call to start to create our future. And the next call will be to, and Steve, will you help put people into the room?
Sure.
Great, thanks. So that's the purpose of today's call. So for those of you new to the movement, our mission is to shift the power so that low-income communities successfully achieve their own visions and goals. That definition of CLD has been around now for more than a decade, but we've been around much shorter. Our commitment is to people like this woman, this girl, actually. She's 15, she's got her baby on her back, and she's trying to scrape out a living for her family on marginalized land with no real voice in the decisions that affect her life. No government within walking distance. So that has to change if we're ever going to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. Those are the goals that were created in 2015. And the day that the world agreed to these Sustainable Development Goals was the day that we officially launched the movement at the United Nations, and it began our work to raise the profile of community-led development, to make it a top issue. And so that is what we've all been doing. Everybody on this call has been a leader in that effort to shift power to local communities where most of these goals have to be solved. Our specific goals globally have been to ensure that there's voice and agency for women, youth, people with disabilities, and all marginalized groups in local decision making. That local communities have a fair share of the national budgets, and that there's funds available for community-based organizations, such as those led by people on this call today. That is probably the greatest daily frustration for people who are deeply dedicated to improving the lives of communities in their country. There needs to be local democracy so that local governments are transparent, effective, and accountable, that there are quality public services, which is a fundamental human right, and also that communities have what they need to be resilient, because resilience is fundamentally a community attribute. It's always community leaders who are the first responders to any kind of climate disaster or struggle or conflict. It's people in the community who are always the first to respond. So those goals we've been working on in all of these countries. A lot of them are now officially registered or associations in their countries. Others are in the process of registering. Others are building their strengths, and still other organizations are beginning to come together to form their own national associations. The national associations have been working with an umbrella strategy in 3 buckets of work to have strong national associations and networks to be well resourced and to be able to take transformative action, which all of which has been happening increasingly. The well-resourced is one I'm sure we're going to talk about in our vision for this coming year. So, and then our next call, as I mentioned, will be really to look back and celebrate what we've accomplished this year. Although I know there's a whole other, we're weeks away from the end of the year. You'll probably accomplish more. So I'm going to stop sharing that for actually, okay, I'm actually going to stop sharing that, and I'm going to have our first speaker of today, which is Gunjan Veda. And like many of you, she's now getting invited to 2 meetings at once. So I asked her to actually record her message, and I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to try and share it here. So Chrome tab. Also share tabs on. Okay, so we'll see if this works. I not personally shared a video on Zoom before, but here we go.
So 2015, MCLD started out with a dream to transform this very top-down colonial system that we are a part of, which, whether you call it development, humanitarian, peace, whatever silos we use, that governs this system. 2023 was the year when the world adopted our dream. The year when the world realized that it has to shift towards locally led development, that change cannot happen unless communities are driving that change. And 2024 for me will be the year when we realize this dream. The year when we begin to see how do we translate this intent, this growing recognition that every person should have a voice and choice in decisions that affect their life. How do we actually operationalize this? What does this look like for community-based organizations, for local organizations, for INGOs, for funders, for multilateral agencies, for local governments? What is the role that each one of us has to play in this new ecosystem that we want to create? An ecosystem which is equitable and just. And I see MCLD and our national associations as playing a vital role in doing this. We can share with the world, with the other stakeholders, lessons on how do you work with communities, because our members, the over 2,000 local and community-based organizations from all over the world, members like you who are parts of national associations, and even some of our INGO allies and members are people who have been doing this for a very long time. So 2024 to me is the year when we operationalize that long ago vision that we created for MCLD and tell the world how they can operationalize it. 2024 is also the year for global solidarity. The only way we as MCLD and our sector in general is going to be able to transform itself is if we leave our egos and logos behind, just like we do in the movement. If we come together across networks, across these many lines that divide us, to stand together for this new transformed, just and equitable system. So my vision for 2024 for MCLD and for national associations is greater solidarity across boundaries and the ability to develop tools, to develop ways to share resources, to share our learnings with the world on how do they do community-led development. And in order to do this, we need national associations that are vibrant, that are supported, and that are well-resourced. And that is going to be our objective for 2024. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Gunjan. And thanks, Sarah, for reminding her to create this video for us. I've heard from several of you this week that you're you're getting so many invitations now that recognition of the importance of community-led development that Gunjan was speaking about really is happening out there. And we are fortunate enough to be alive at a time when that's being recognized. So I want to now shift to other of our associations. And let me first call on Joanna. Joanna, I saw us also being invited to lots of meetings recently. Joanna, do you want to turn on your video and share Uganda's vision for 2024?
Yes, I send my greetings to everyone. My apologies, John. Let me come last. I am trying to get parking somewhere. Just hold on there.
Okay,
Yes,
fine.
yes.
We'll come back to you. Let me make a little note of that. Okay. Pascal, tell us about the vision in Benin. You're muted, Pascal.
Hi, John. Hi, everyone. Yes, I would like to share with you the vision of the MCLD Association, Benin MCLD Association, and some reflection related to MCLD in West Africa. If you allow me, I'm not sure that I could share my screen, but I will, okay. Yeah.
Are you able to?
What? No, yes.
Okay.
I tried to share the screen, but it doesn't work, but I'll present directly. Yeah. The first, before coming to the core activity that we are planning for 2024, I would like to share the vision as we come up with it right now. We could reframe it with your input, involve resources, ideas. But our vision for the MCLD Benin Association is this: resilient communities in the world, and particularly in Benin, where women, men, youth, and children thrive on the basis of solidarity, justice, and equity. And we see our mission like this one, to co-create space and condition for communities to have the needed capacities to define their own priorities and to engage in relevant partnership that strengthen their empowerment and resilience. But one thing we would like already to share, to mention before coming to specific activities planned for 2024 is the objective that we are aiming is to amplify localized planning and action towards sustainability and resilience through MCLD processes and tools that enhance the self-determination and agency for both the communities and local governments. Coming now to our buckets, the first one, what do we plan to make sure that we have strong association in Benin? We will continue working with the national network of civil society organization here, particularly the House of Civil Society Organization. We include also PASIB, which is a large platform of network here. I will just mention those two. And we will include the self-reliant epicenter in the CLD Benin Association. We have particularly 3 self-reliant epicenter where activities are still going on well, and the leadership is really functional, and we want them to come to share their experience within the MCLD Association Benin. That is Avlame, that is Zapota, that is also Ofe. We want also to, we have planned also to consolidate the relationship between CLD Benin and like-minded network for learning and sharing purpose. We have FITO, we have Tamarak Institution, and many other networks. 3, CLD Benin focal points will be nominated at the National Association of Local Governments, that is ANCB, we call it here in French, Association Nationale des Communes du Benin. So we plan 10 focal points will be nominated in 10 communes. And the same at 3 ministries level that we have local focal point nominated. Those ministries are the Ministry of Decentralization, the Ministry of Planning and Development, and the third one is the Minister of Agriculture. That is how we see to make our association stronger. The second bucket is related to resource mobilization. So the focal point I have just mentioned are human resources that will come to strengthen the way we will be operating in our MCLD association. A part of this focus will be put on resource mobilization for the dissemination of the MCLD tools and for specific program campaign related to nutrition and particularly agriculture and nutrition. But this could be extended to other prioritized thematic area that we are working on. Those are local governance and resource devolution, environment and climate change, community well-being, and we include there the housing, the hygiene and sanitation. And the last one is development of the local economy. But the way we want to mobilize resources here is really to develop partnership with the National Association of Communes, the National Council of Nutrition, and other institutions that could really put in their programming for 2024 the shared priorities, so we could move together in resource mobilization, and sometimes we could also share resources available in our organization. The last part is the action that will be taken. The first one is the press conference on the CLD Benin association, on the CLD association, after the registration process come to an end. We are following up, but just after the registration is really done, we will have the press conference to make sure that people know more about the SCLD, the processes, and how to work, the amplification process we are now really carried out. The second one is the training on the CLD tools and processes. This is fundamental. And the training will take into account the chapter members, our association members, particularly civil society organization. That will be extended to local government entities. We targeted 10 communes, 33 civil society organizations that will be using the tools, and also universities, particularly the University of Abomey-Calavi, where teachers, professors are interested in knowing more about the tools, the MCLD tools, and of course, the three focal points that will be nominated at the ministry level. At the regional level, 3 countries at the regional level will be are interested in the training at the regional level. Other action will be the focus on the transformation of the food system, and many initiatives are going on there. And the last one is fruit and vegetable in our daily diets. Other initiative that will be continued in with valorization of local resources with high nutritional value, the promotion of culinary recipes and local dishes to contribute to food sovereignty in Benin. And we have another initiative going on that it is about local superfood festival. Yeah, I will just stop there and thank you.
Okay, thank you, Pascal.
Yeah, one thing, John, please. We are planning to support youth engagement with a project around technology to support entrepreneurship development for youth. Yeah, just the last part. Thank you.
Very good. Okay, well, it covered pretty much all the goals we have globally as well. So thank you, Pascal. And so what country would like to go next? If you can just use your raise hand, I'll call on you. I saw
Thank you, Dr. John.
Yes, hi.
Yeah, I'm all right. I raised hand today because I wanted us we have a lot of people on the platform today who are going to give their vision 2024 vision in their national associations. So I decided because of my condition, my health, I decided to take the league first to come online so that I can rest, I can sit down and rest. So, but all the same, I'm trying to give just a brief vision of the MCLD Liberian chapter. The vision for 2024 are as follows. Number 1, the establishment and the implementation of the Liberia Center for Farming Innovation in the 3 counties, 3 districts, and the circling of the innovation in other districts and counties. Number 2, effective involvement in women and youth empowerment program, WASH, and the less privileged drop-out girls education. Number 3, the establishment of the MCLD Liberian chapter institution in agriculture and business management in Liberia. Action step, allocation of fundings and resources to achieve the MCLD Liberian chapter 2024 vision. The MCLD Liberian chapter team working together to carry on the vision 2024 for sustainable and effective reduction of hunger and poverty in our community and nation at large. It is our heartbeat and desire to achieve this vision by 2024 and to enable us to have a successful story or success story to share. We are pleased to share a brief vision about 2024 in this time. Thanks to you all.
Thank you, Jude. And we hope your health returns to you full speed and full at every possible level, sufficient to lead your country in achieving these goals. So thank you so much for being with us, and please now rest. Okay, which country would like to go next? Just, you could raise your hand. There, okay, Aya from Sierra Leone.
Yes,
Continuing around the
John.
West Coast.
Yes. Thank you very much for having us today. It's indeed an opportunity for Sierra Leone to be part of this movement. So our vision, this vision has been coined by all of us. The vision of Sierra Leone MCLD is we envision communities in Sierra Leone with improved well-being by including the voices of all communities in decision-making on the future of their communities and the nation. So in this vision, we have 6 key priorities set to accomplish this vision. We know that visions are long-term plan. They cannot be accomplished, or you can hear them, but you cannot accomplish all of it. So one of our priorities is to strengthen our interaction with other civil society groups and the governments to have a mutual gains and understanding and pursue national interest. We want to enable marginalized men and women to participate in civic engagement and externally driving interventions through awareness and promotion of citizens' rights in Sierra Leone. We want to empower women to stand up against gender-based violence, economic oppression, and human rights violations. We want to empower women to participate more in leadership and decision-making roles and encouragement to change their perception. This involves a lot of sensitization and also sensitization and conscientization. We want to empower women to participate more in leadership and decision-making roles and encouragement to change their perception. We want to use the community-led development approach to expand opportunity and localize livelihood for youth population in Sierra Leone. We want to strengthen advocacy on natural resource management, climate change, and governance as a key driver for sustainable development. We also, in our specific activities, we want to establish a regional associate levels. That is, we have 5 regions right now in Sierra Leone. We want to establish a regional groups. We want to do resource mobilization. We want to capacitate and build up seminars for promoting community well-being through a community-led development approach. And we also want to legally register our movement from now to hopefully by January 2024, we shall accomplish that. We want to grow our membership. So this is what we have for this year. And we shall counterpart with our regional colleagues in the CLD resource training, mobilization training. For example, the training on the CLD tools and processes like Pascal mentioned. This is all we plan to do in tandem with other issues that will be coming up. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ayos.
Our colleagues from the other side would like to make comments or maybe make addition. Lossie, do you have any addition to what I've just said? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Aya. Lossie, anything you want to add?
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, I think Aya has mentioned all what we wanted to achieve, because this is a collective goal set, and I don't think I want to add anything new. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So let me turn to a next country. Which country would like to go next? Dr. Rebecca, please.
Um, I will not be the one who will present it. As I told you, Nigeria is a very huge country, and our team have a really big, very highly qualified people.
Yes.
More than me. I am just a theologian. So I asked our honorable trustee, Mr. Paul Gazama, when we met to discuss about our vision and what we are going to do. And so we pick from what we have been doing, and he will present for us. So,
Very good.
welcome.
Very good. Paul, are you there?
Yes. Let me see if I can share my screen. Is it possible?
Okay. It should be.
Okay. Where does it say share screen?
At the bottom, there's a little green thing.
Okay, I have seen it. I have seen it. Here we go. Yep.
Yes, we see it. Okay.
Yeah. As Dr. Rebecca mentioned, Nigeria is made up of Nigerian MCLD, or as we registered it as Strategic Action for Community Development Nigeria, is made up of a consortium of 33 local NGOs, even though some of the local NGOs have tentacles in other parts of the globe, such as SEPI, which was founded by Dr. Becker. So we had our session, and we understood that there are so many areas that we could focus on and work on for the year 2024, and eventually settled for 4, which we have on our screen. We have 4 areas. The first one is addressing the issue of poverty. Poverty has multiplied tenfold in Nigeria over the past 10 years, and it has affected the communities seriously. Therefore, we as a consortium are going to be working together to identify physically fit and physically challenged women, girls, and youth who are the most vulnerable in our communities, with the aim of empowering the poorest of the poor by developing different skills and opportunities for different entrepreneurs, improving their source of livelihood. Alongside that, part of the reason that the communities and the society have remained poor is there is ignorance and lack of awareness of the rights of the ordinary citizen. So as we work in empowering them with different skills, we are also going to advocate and make the poor aware of their rights, on how to hold stakeholders and leaders accountable. In Nigerian language is really the politicians in government. They come around during campaign, take their tell the people all kind of beautiful stories and promises, and immediately they are sworn into office, the poor people are forgotten. We want to raise an awareness amongst the people at the grassroots to learn how to hold their leaders accountable for the responsibilities that have been given to them. The second aspect is hunger. Poverty usually leads to hunger, and hunger also creates insecurity of different ramifications. And there is so much insecurity and malnutrition, especially among children. And this food insecurity has further been exacerbated by violent conflicts, terrorism, and kidnappings. In most of the some of the communities that our organizations are operating right now, the struggle they are having is to harvest their crops. They have tried, and God has blessed the soil and the farms, but even to go out and harvest the crops are a big challenge. And that's one of the things we have to advocate for, more security so that people can harvest their crops and still have livelihood. We will approach those who are relevant and partner with them in government and in security, among the security forces. We'll try to improve farming methods that will enhance productivity through trainings in organic farming and facilitating access to mechanized farming. Hunger also leads to poor health. So healthcare is one of the areas, the third area that the consortium will be addressing. We want to increase the awareness, especially of harmful practices. Because of poverty, people tend to go for cheap ways of addressing their health issues. So instead of, because they are not able to afford medical care that are modern, they continue to go to the traditional system. Well, some of them are good, but a lot of them is doing a lot of damage to the organs of these communities, especially the kidney. There is a rise in kidney failure in our communities. And some of them are coming from the abuse or misuse of traditional medicines. Then the other part of this health care problem is drug abuse. The youth, it's an epidemic in Nigeria today. When you see the youth that have been captured by drug addiction, is affecting every facet of life and is even spreading even among adults. Even among adults. I learned recently that one of my teachers in primary school, he recently died, but he died in drug addiction. So the thing is spreading, and we need to address that seriously among our youth. We will develop programs that will address mental health needs and stigmatization attached to people receiving treatment and so on. We will emphasize on healthy lifestyle, eating nutritious foods, and exercise. Last but not the least, which is the real foundation for any development, is education. Literacy is the bedrock of all human progress, but due to bad governance, the educational sector is suffering. Is it just even suffering? The educational sector has almost totally collapsed, especially in northern Nigeria. It is estimated that, conservative estimate, we have more than 12 million out of school children in Nigeria. And it's still counting. It's not coming down, it's increasing. And only God knows how these children are going to turn out to be, but we can predict in the next 10 years, if nothing is done quickly to get these children educated into the classrooms, it is going to be explosive. So SACDN is going to work as a consortium to develop specific strategies and programs that will address these 4 areas. And this will also serve as a means of cementing the relationship and the network among these 33 organizations in Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Paul. That's an excellent summary, and we really, really appreciate it. Yeah, I'm reminded of one of my mentors who was part of the freedom movement in India. His mantra was work for all, food for all, health for all, and education for all. So just like your 4 goals, it's very, very strong set of goals. I really congratulate the team there and look forward to the impact of this. Okay, which country now? Who would like to go next? Steve.
Yes, John. Hello, John, and hello to everyone on the call. My name is Steve from Kenya, and I'll be sharing. Let me just share my screen. A quick brief of what our focus is in the coming year. And I'd like to also recognize the presence of some of our members here. I've seen Rose Mbone, I've seen Celine, and Sophie, Bernardo Guta, and others. Welcome on board. So we have divided our focus on 3 areas. Areas that MCLD Kenya is intervening around in Kenya, and that is strengthening devolution. As some of you may know, Kenya got its new constitution in 2010, and with that introduced 47 county governments. And with this devolution also came with its own challenges in terms of technical capacity to just understand how best to integrate community-led approaches in the design, implementation, and verification of county government development projects. So we have been intervening at that level, but we're also doing some work around building a vibrant CBO network in the country, and you'll see that in a nutshell. So I'll start with what we are doing with the counties in terms of strengthening devolution in Kenya. So one of our latest initiatives in that regard is a school for devolution and community-led development, which we launched on March the 16th of this year. So this is a joint initiative between MCLD and the county government of Makueni County, which is one of the 47 counties. And the school is a center of excellence when it comes to strengthening capacity of people, actors within the development ecosystem, whether it is community leaders, CBOs, county government officials, and people like that. And so this school is meant to serve that bit. And we actually have the first cohort, which graduated on November 16th, with 35 county officials. So next year, the vision that we are co-creating with the county is to train at least 500 people. So of the 35 that graduated, they were trained as trainer of trainers. So our strategy is they are going to go back to their villages, and each will train at least 25 organizations. So we hope to hit at least 500 people in the course of next year. And that includes government, county government officials, CSOs, and other partners. So this school is actually demonstrating what happens when CSOs and government work together. The other bit that we'll also be focusing on is supporting one of our latest partner county government, which is called Taita Taveta County. And our support to them is working with them to draft their first public participation policy. So Taita Taveta is one of the counties that have been a little laid back when it comes to public participation issues. This is 10 years after we started implementing the devolution in Kenya. And so this new administration of the county is very progressive, and they want us to work with them to put up this first public participation policy to ensure that they become more community-led when it comes to how they do development in the county. So that's going to be our focus. And of course, because of the work we've been doing with counties like Makueni, Taita Taveta, Bomet, we've also received demand from other counties. And we hope that we can begin to meet those demands by maybe onboarding 2 more counties and support them in issues of capacity strengthening and the other areas that I'd also talked about. The other bit is we also want to now work very closely with the State Department of Devolution. That is the department that deals with devolution issues in the country. And of course, the Council of Governors, which brings together all the 47 county governments. So we want to see how we can work with them to design or co-design sessions, whether it's learning sessions or capacity strengthening sessions across the counties to ensure that we have the right capacity, we have the right resources that goes down to the people. But also importantly, like I think, John, you referenced in your intros, we've also been pushing a lot for these counties to allocate at least 20% of their national budget to CLD issues. And I'm happy to say there are counties like Makueni that we've been working with now. They are allocating in their last budget 35% going to CLD activities. And we hope to do that with the rest of the counties. The next bit, which is what we do with building a vibrant CBOs network in the country, is we want to expand our reach. We have realized, and maybe I don't know whether this is the case with other countries in Africa, that most organizations, whether it's NGOs or these development partners, they have their offices in the capital, right? And so for them, it's very easy to work very closely with organizations that are within the capital. And because of that, those organizations that are based in rural areas, it becomes very difficult for them to access these opportunities, whether it's capacity build strengthening, whether it's funding and things like that. So we want to be very deliberate and reach out to the rural-based CBOs, of course, alongside others to ensure that no one is truly left behind. And even special interest groups like disability organizations and groups like those ones. The other bit is, of course, doing capacity strengthening on areas like governance, fundraising, and just also trying to link them to opportunities out there, whether it's funding opportunities and things like that, but also working with these organizations to identify advocacy points that then we can use our platforms, both here and also the reach that MCLD globally has to push these advocacy issues. The last bit is now what we intend to focus to do internally as MCLD is actually we want to develop a strategic plan starting next year. Of course, we are also continuing to push a needle when it comes to fundraising and things like that. We are putting up concept notes and sharing with funders out there. And we appreciate the support that MCLD US has been providing in terms of linking us to many potential funders and donors out there. Of course, the last bit is we're also continuing to strike partnerships with like-minded organizations to ensure that we are able to expand our reach. I think in a nutshell, John, that's what we are anticipating to achieve in 2024. Thanks.
Great, Steve, and congratulations to everybody on your team. It's hard for me to know exactly which other folks are here, but I really appreciate the well-organized set of priorities, and particularly the scale of your vision. It's very, very inspiring. Let me lower your hand here. Lower hand. Okay, moving along to Joanna in Uganda.
Yes, I send greetings to everybody. In Uganda, we have some like four strategies we are zeroing on, but it is not exhaustive, because when we have our annual general meeting, which we have actually rescheduled to the end of January, we may have more ideas coming on board. Our members may decide that we add this or that, so we are looking up to that also. Yeah, so, but anyway, what we have in a plan for 2024, we want to increase our networking with like-minded partners in the public and the private sector. We want also to increase our visibility. We want to increase our visibility through, we intend to develop contextualized IEC materials. We want to participate more in events. We also want to seek opportunities to participate in events. We may be invited, yes, to participate in events, but we will also try to see that we get invited. And we will seek out these opportunities with the partner organizations so that we are given a platform to talk about ourselves. We will do this intentionally. We also intend to have, at the end of this year, we have done some exercise in the community that has helped us find that there's a lot of dependency among communities, and as of now, actually we are experiencing a challenge whereby development partners try to engage communities, but there is a situation, there is a habit or a behavior, I don't know how better to call it, where people cannot come for training, cannot come to be given communication or information until they are paid. This we have identified in all the districts we have been working in the 10 districts. And so what we have decided, we had a conversation last week with some members of the steering committee that we need to engage the NGO forum and the local government and come up with a position paper. So this is in the case of advocacy. And we see how best we can support civil society organizations to stop the habit of facilitating, giving a handout to members of the community just to have them to come and sit and listen to them. As well as the district officials, we have also found out that district officials cannot give you time to interact with them until you give them money. You sit down with someone, you fix an we don't fix appointments with district officials because they would never let you do that. But when you go there to meet them, they will always ask you, am I going to sit here with you and talk for nothing? Am I not having tea? Am I not having transport? But you are in their office. So this is something we want to talk about. And we hope we can amplify it in that it does not only come out into just being advocacy, but also room for us to be visible, to be known who we are and what we want to see changing in the community. The other item we want to do is resource mobilization. And the focus on this is not just going to be into the traditional methods. We want also to see how best we can engage corporate institutions. This is a very key item and it is primary. We had a conversation the other week with the steering committee, and we resolved that next year we are going to focus on approaching corporate institutions because they have the CSR element in their work, the corporate social responsibility. So they have groups or teams or numbers of their beneficiaries, their grantees. And what we would like to table to them is that we would like to provide CLD training. We would like to roll out our assessment tools, our CLD tools into their grantee programs. And we are looking at this as consultancy, and we will need to come up with a figure for this. Those are the 4 key elements we have with us for 2024. This year has been about institutional development, and we have achieved, and we are really proud of ourselves. So next year is going to be rolling out on these 4 elements until the members come up in February or the last week of January and have any other inputs, then we can include all this to have a clear 2024 plan. Those are the 4 elements I wanted to share with you. Thank you very much.
Wonderful, Joanna. Thank you so much. Okay, what country is next? Dr. Rebecca, your hand is up again. Do you want to add something?
Want to say I love it, but then my hand got up. Sorry.
Oh, okay. No problem.
I'm applauding the presenter. Well done.
Wonderful. That's great. Thank you.
Sorry.
Okay.
Thank you.
Another voice from Uganda. Nixon, please go ahead.
Thank you, John, and greetings, everyone. Maybe just add on Joanna's presentation. As you noticed that this year, MCLD Uganda passed out a new strategic plan, which runs from 2023 to 2020 for the next 5 years. So it is important that starting of next year, we are looking at how do we ensure that we implement a strategic plan, which is very clear on our interests in promoting CLD in Uganda. So as a member, as a group, we shall deeply look into the strategic plan to ensure that our activities are aligned to what our vision is as a chapter, since that is what was approved upon. So looking forward to working with all of us to ensure that the strategic plan is achieved, because it gives us a clear guidance on where we are right now and where we want to go. I thought I would add on to that as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nixon. Much appreciated. Let me lower your hand. Okay. Do we have another country that would like to share their vision for 2024? So just pop up your hand. If not, I will share some of the vision for MCLD US, which is now a independent organization. You know, we have this holiday in the US and some other countries too around Thanksgiving to have what's called Giving Tuesday. Yesterday was Giving Tuesday. So I sent emails to all my high school classmates to ask them to give to MCLD. And the first of them did. So my friend Ali sent $500. I was really appreciative. And another friend from my college cohort sent $2,500. So one of my priorities is going to be fundraising from individuals, because that's the most flexible kind of money. There's no, you must do this, you must report that. When individuals see our work and invest in it, that's a very flexible kind of money. But certainly, as was mentioned by several countries, making connections between funders and our national associations is going to be a very, very top priority. And we think there's are given, as you heard Gunjan say, given that the big world organizations and national organizations have finally committed to CLD, then we need to really manage those opportunities. And so we're going to strengthen the capacity of MCLD US to be able to do that. We're also going to be changing a few things to be more effective and to share our approaches with others. I want to call on Anne to share her vision for 2024.
Thank you, John. And I just have to say to all the national associations, what an incredible set of ideas and presentations. And each one is different. Each one is unique, which really is a testament to locally led development and people being able to set their own visions and priorities. And at the same time, you know, there's themes running through all of them. The power of relationships and also the sophistication that it takes to even know what it means to strengthen a relationship, like to what end and what is the nature of that relationship, and also capacity support for all kinds of actors, the interest in regional work so that there can be lots of cross learning, and you know, obviously MCLD is a great place for that. a focus on all of the voices, including women, youth, men, and children, a focus on peace, and a focus on leadership. So and also this idea that, this all takes years and years and years to happen. And everybody, like we're all grown-ups here with the patience and the vision to work for communities over the course of many years, and to keep it going and to get everybody on board. So thank you so much to all of you. I took a lot of notes and I'm just super excited. And thankfully also we're recording this. And I also wanted to just make a quick announcement that I have some other work I need to tend to. So as of January 1st, I'll be switching from being an employee or a staff person with MCLD to being a volunteer, an ardent volunteer with MCLD in its new phase. And even though I won't be around as much, I guess, time-wise, because of the other work, I will be always with everyone in spirit, always available, and looking forward to participating in the meetings and all kinds of things. So yeah, that's my little announcement for today, and I'll turn it back to you, John. You are muted, by the way.
Yes, I'm muted because the apartment above me is drilling holes through the ceiling. So that's why I was muted. But thank you, Anne, and just thank you for all that you have brought. And we look forward to continuing working with you as an ardent volunteer. I too am transforming. I will still be working full-time for MCLD, but I will no longer be on the payroll of the Hunger Project. I will serve as an unpaid board member because I have retirement money. So I'm an old guy now, and I'm required by law to spend my retirement money on myself. So I am now, as of January 1st, I won't be on the Hunger Project's payroll anymore. And in fact, that is a big part of our transition, to really be able to operate independently of the Hunger Project. The Hunger Project will continue to be a very strong financial supporter of the movement, but not our only financial supporter. And they will, that separation of organizations is intended to make sure that the movement can be owned more broadly and be funded more broadly. And it's already starting to happen. We've got, a foundation is sending money next Tuesday into our bank account. And we have some projects with USAID that will help fund not only us, but some of our national associations. And we think there's a lot more opportunity for that going forward. So we're going to hire a person, sorry, who is an expert in dealing with foundations and USAID to work with us. Hopefully by January or February, we'll find the perfect person, because the other organizations, the big organizations, they have like 10 people working on grants and things like that. We kind of have a tenth of a person working on grants. So we're going to get a person to work full time on being able to work on those kinds of grants, make sure that we're compliant with them. Sarah, you've already been assigned a number of future projects in our communications. Do you want to say anything about your communications visions for 2024?
I'm working on a communications strategy. The main thing that I want to say about communications is that I want to meet with each association to talk about how you want to position your expertise over the next year, how you want to showcase your work and your impact, and how you want to coordinate messaging with each other if you want to do that. So I'm really excited about what our communications will look like next year, and I'm looking forward to talking with you all about that.
Great, very good. So that's some of what we're looking at. I have to say my own time has been dominated by just figuring out things like healthcare and benefits and banking and HR requirements to be a separate organization in the U.S. I know Dr. Rebecca is also a 501c3 is what we call tax-exempt organizations in the U.S. So she knows some of the headaches of being an independent organization. Your hand is up again. Did you want to add
Yes.
something?
You know, when we met, some SAGDIC members are really have a lot of questions pertaining this MCLD being on its own. Are we now still connected with Hunger Project, or are we no more in relation with Hunger Project, who is our global global grandfather, we will call it.
Yeah. So this is a great question.
And all this, so that you know, if there is new thing, usually people will have a lot of questions. Is this MCLD US, are they going to be like our umbrella supporter? Like if they get resources, can they like support with the, we said, is it down south or what? We don't know. And
yeah.
all this, we have a lot of questions pertaining.
Okay, well, I hope I have a number of answers, if not all the answers. So when we, a year ago, when we launched this transition process, we met a number of the people on the call, a lot of our people from different parts of Africa and Mexico and others were on a call to say, what did we want as our global organization? And so this shift to having registered independent national associations, and then any global decisions are going to be made by all of us together. So every country will appoint a gender balanced pair of people to a global assembly. We plan to hold the first meeting of that global assembly to discuss how we want to make global decisions democratically. So we no longer will have a grandfather, but the Hunger Project as a global organization, and we hope other global organizations will be strong supporters. So for example, the Hunger Project has made a public commitment to raise at least enough money for MCLD for the next 3 years to make sure that the current staff, Pascal and Joanna and Steve and Sarah and others who are on the Global Secretariat staff will have their salaries met. So that fundamental core cost is being met through a pledge from the Hunger Project. But they will also be an active member, and an active member in a new way. You heard, the Hunger Project in Africa has a strategy that Pascal mentioned called the Epicenter strategy. I hope everybody will visit an epicenter, but it's basically a sub-district level of organization that brings together clusters of villages to work together to solve all of their basic needs. And it's a great strategy. Steve has visited one. I hope everybody gets to visit one sometime. But they become independent CBOs. So after a number of years, the epicenters themselves become a CBO, and those communities mobilized by the Hunger Project can be independently members of their national CLD associations. So when Pascal said 3 of their the hunger projects work areas that have become totally self-reliant, no longer needing any support from the Hunger Project, they themselves are becoming members of the movement in Benin. And we're hoping that will happen in other countries, and that there can be community-to-community learning without grandfather having to do the introductions, or grandmother in the case, since most Hunger Project staff are female. So the Hunger Project globally will be a member. It's a 501c3. It'll be a member in the US, and it has a pledge as a funder of MCLD. And there are others. So for example, One Village Partners is a member in the US, and it's also a funder of MCLD in Sierra Leone. Community Partners is a global INGO based in the US, and it provides free office space support for MCLD in Kenya. So we're going to try to continue brokering these solidarity partnerships. And I loved Pascal's statement of solidarity, justice, and equity. So we do not want to set up a new neo-colonial NGO system. Instead, we want anything that has to be decided globally will be decided democratically by all of us together. But as we look at it, there's not a lot of global decisions to make. I mean, our basic principles and mission statements, all national associations have to be within that framework. And if it ever needs tinkering, then we will do that all together democratically. So that, in big picture, the Hunger Project is going to be a very active member, and so will hopefully other organizations. I know, Relief International. There's a lot of the U.S.-based NGOs. Now, in addition, there was a lot of talk from the countries about networking, and we've also been trying to create more networking with European and Australian networks, because they have voice with their donors. So for example, we've been tinkering with Sweden to get Sweden, because Sweden has Uganda as a priority. So, okay, well then you should meet Joanna. So I think Joanna's planning to meet with the Embassy of Sweden, convince them of the wisdom of supporting MCLD Uganda. I've had great conversations with people from France, from the Netherlands. Hopefully their NGO networks will also support MCLD national associations in target countries. So this role of brokering and trying to make connections, not only within the US, but within the global community. And then another role that we hope sitting in the US we can play is continuing to pressurize the UN to hear your voices. So we've had several opportunities for many of you to have a voice in different international meetings. And we hope one of the things that we can do with a little bit more money, if we can raise it, is to do more of that work. To have, for instance, I don't know that any of us on this call are going to the COP Environment Conference, but we should be there. We should be some of us should be at COP. They should be hearing from us. So that's a big priority that we hope to do even more of in the future.
Oh, thank you so much. We need those big organizations to pick interest in Nigeria to support us.
Well, it's a priority.
We are really
Foundation.
raising our hands, and
I will. A personal priority of mine, Dr. Rebecca, will be to have you meet with the Gates Foundation this year, because Gates has made Nigeria a priority country. So we will find it now, whether they we can get them to fund us, who knows? But that's up to them.
Amen.
But they must start by knowing that your amazing network exists, as well as other international groups. So,
thank you.
Any other questions about our vision for 2024?
Well, John, thank you very much for giving the lengthy updates about MCLD Global and that of the local national associations. So what's our ORISA is about now that the hunger project, does it going to extend all over, or is it going to be a national, I mean, is going to be part of the global, or is it going to be giving money for only the you that are existing, or what are they planning? What the hunger project is planning in the future moving forward? Thank you very much.
You know, I don't speak for the Hunger Project, so you will have to ask the Hunger Project. But they also have a strategic plan, and their strategic plan is on their website, thp.org. And there, I don't think they plan to have be in more countries, because that's very, very expensive. But they are hoping to have more influence with the governments where they are, working with MCLD in those countries. For instance, like in Senegal and Malawi and Mozambique, Ethiopia, these are countries where the Hunger Project exists, and they have not, most of them have not had a big advocacy impact, but they hope to work through the national associations of MCLD to amplify their voice and to be able to have more influence in their own countries. And so, anyway, they have a new mission statement about catalyzing collective and individual action to transform the systems of inequity that give rise to hunger. So this transformative role, that's a big part of their strategy going forward. But I don't think they have any plans to start new Hunger Project countries, but they will continue to be. Right now, they are the biggest funder of MCLD globally, but I predict by the end of the year, they will no longer, they will be giving as much as they ever have, but we will have an equal amount, maybe much more amount from other sources in MCLD, not only in the US, but everywhere in MCLD. As you heard, lots of countries have big fundraising goals. Paul, you have your hand up. Go ahead. A few more minutes on this call.
Okay, yes. So actually, following on Dr. Rebecca's question, seeking clarification on this. So what will be the relationship between MCLD Hunger Project and the various country chapters of MCLD? Will there be, is it going to be a kind of an open relationship whereby, for example, individual countries will have a direct relationship or project with Hunger Project independently of MCLD? Then the second thing I want some clarification on is in terms of the relationship of MCLD Global or MCLD USA, is it taking the role, or where do we see the role of being the umbrella organization for the globe now that becoming independent?
So our vision, one of the things that has been criticized a lot, and rightly so, is that global organizations become a little bit like colonial powers, controlling their country offices. And that's something that when we had our strategic design meeting in the end of 2022, we decided we did not want to do that. We did not want to have an umbrella global organization that's, quote, in charge. Instead, as I mentioned, each national association sets its own priorities, sets its own activities, and hopefully increasingly is able to generate resources both locally and globally. The Hunger Project in those 12 countries where it exists will be members of the national associations, but they won't be leading those national associations. Each national association will lead itself and select its own leadership. Anything that requires a global decision, like for example, let's say in a year or so, we suddenly decide, oh my gosh, we should have a different global goal, X, Y, or Z. Then we will have regular meetings with representatives from every national association in a global assembly. And that global assembly will democratically discuss and set any global policies that are required. Now, mostly we don't need that, but because our national associations will be strong. There was a request also that there continue to be shared services for on a global basis. So, for instance, we have people on the Global Secretariat staff like Steve and Joanna and Pascal, who play not only national roles, but global and regional roles. And we want even more of that. But right now, we have as much as we can afford. As Sarah said, Sarah from the US is able to play a global secretariat role of around communications, and wants to work with each association to strengthen your communication skills. But that isn't, that's a shared service at your request. And we will be, as Global Secretariat, will be accountable to that global assembly, which will set global priorities globally. So the Hunger Project's annual pledge will come to MCLD US, and then we have commitments to support the Global Secretariat staff wherever they live. And for instance, we have a grant coming in that needs a project manager. That project manager will not be a US person. The project manager will be in Nairobi. And so we see the ability to act as a global team of association, a network of networks, as a democratic and equitable process where every country should have an equal voice. And we don't want the fact right now that a lot of the money is coming from the US to give us more voice than we deserve here in the US. So that's how it's going to be. No more grandmother, no more patriarchy. We will try to make every country strong and independent and fulfill those three buckets. Gordon, you have your hand up. We're 1 minute left on the call. Do you want to make your final comment?
Yeah, thanks, John. Yes, this is Gordon from Foundation for Community Development and Empowerment. We are based both in the US, our headquarters, but also in Uganda. And thanks for that clarity, especially trying to localize the platform because it's now the global agenda. Just I was wondering, based on what Sarah shared about the communication strategy, some of the things that you have shared that tend to provide more clarity going to appear in the strategy once it's out? Thanks.
Yes, it is out and it's on the MCLD website. And I think we should, it's not the easiest thing to find at the moment. So let me make sure, Sarah, that you and I find a good place to put a link directly to this, to our global structure. Great suggestion. Okay, with that, I want to first congratulate all of your teams for putting together clear, finite priorities. I know we have people from a lot of other countries on this call who are still in the process of building up their national associations. So I think the work that you have done around your priorities will be a great inspiration to the other national associations. If you are encouraged to have any bilateral conversations you want to have as we enter 2024. I want to give everybody a reminder that that on December 13th, earlier, we have our final global call of the year. We do it earlier than the last Wednesday because of all of the distractions around the holidays that bring a regular life to a halt in so many countries. So December 13th, please come. Please think through what are your proudest accomplishments of 2023. Sorry, I'm an old guy. 2023, what were your proudest accomplishments in the movement for 2023? We will share those on December 13th, and that will help us write all of our annual reports. With that, I notice Gunjan has come back to the call. Gunjan, any last words from you?
I do not know what happened on the call, but I'm
No,
hoping we got lots of ideas around how we are going to our vision for next year and how we are going to transition. I'm really looking forward to listening to everybody's comments, feedback, ideas, and vision. And also apologizing for not being here, but I was representing us on another global panel to shift power and to make things different and to transform the system. So
great. Thanks, Gunjan. And thank you, everybody. And so anybody who wants to unmute and say goodbye, now is the time for that. So goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
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 Bye, everybody. Goodbye.
Take care.
Thank
Bye.
you for being here. Thank you,
Bye,
John.
bye.
Thank you, Gujan.
Bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
Really, the
Alan.
meeting was
Let's speak
so
tomorrow.
good, and I've learned a lot.
Bye, 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 bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, bye, everyone.
Bye from Uganda.